Don't look now, but World of Warcraft is actually kind of fun, especially classic World of Warcraft. And it might have Everquest to thank and a specific person who used to work for Everquest. Because they're kind of doing something that Everquest has been at least experimenting with since 2006. Now, actually might be tied to a not recent hire, but somewhat recent hire that actually had a lot to do with what Everquest did. If you follow MMORPGs at all, you have probably at least heard of World of Warcraft Classic. And on November 30th, they launched a new version of the nostalgia-filled romp called Season of Discovery. The highlights of this are some new content in the form of new raid and new puzzles and quests related to the rune engraving system, which adds some unique functionality to different classes, like altering skills to allow new roles or giving spells from later expansions in Classic World of Warcraft. One of the biggest highlights for many, myself included, is how they've treated World of Warcraft in a way that it never really has been before, and the way that most MMOs are not treated. They're treating it more like a sprint and less like a marathon. In the current iteration of World of Warcraft Season of Discovery, the maximum level you can reach is level 25. That will eventually change as they go through multiple seasons, and we still don't know exactly how many seasons there's going to be, but it's not just that they've capped the level and given nothing there. They have an end game. They have an end game for you to experience at level 25, thus kind of making it really interesting, especially since one of the people that might have been an architect to all this once said that casuals shouldn't raid. For everything WoW has done wrong over the years to push players away, whether it be awful expansions, toxic as hell work environments, or pay-to-win monetization through WoW tokens, WoW Classic has remained a bright spot, and part of that is maybe tied to Holly Longdale, also known as Holly Windstalker, who was hired by Blizzard in April of 2020 after a long stint with Everquest, where she was in charge of many of the directional choices for close to a decade and had worked with everyone from Brad McQuaid to the current head of Darkpaw, Jennifer Chan. During the tenure, Holly Longdale oversaw a great deal of change when it came to progression servers, infamously making the comment that I still find hilariously out of touch and just kind of wrong. Casuals shouldn't be allowed to fight Nagafen. That diminishes the achievement of others. That's part of the challenge. You have to be better than the other guy. You have to be more strategic than the other guy. A comment that essentially boiled down to better being having more time or having more people, or strategy being training people with fire giants. Not exactly the best comment. I mean, the whole idea of like basically scarcity being the achievement, not talent, skill, or anything like that, just scarcity. That was the, anyway, I still have a gripe with that, but we're moving past that. This is all, we're healing. This is all about World of Warcraft and how they're actually doing something good. Everquest's experimentation with progression servers has been ongoing for years. Eventually, Holly lost the war on casuals with the advent of Agents of Change, which opened up raid content to anyone who could field a competent raid force, as well as pick zones, which alleviated tremendous overcrowding. Essentially, two things that are already in World of Warcraft Classic. Recent special rule set servers have included Mischief and Thornblade, which randomize loot drops, adding new dynamics to the game, and the Vaniki server, which, much like Season of Discovery, used level caps for unlock starting with a max of level 40 and unlocking from there. Oakwyn, the newest progression server, added encounter locking for the very first time in Everquest, and stacks bonuses with each new expansion. The goal has been clear: create a new way to play an old game. Include a little bit of nostalgia, but make it so that players that have done it multiple times before might just be interested to try it again and still enjoy it. And it's kind of working. WoW, as they usually do, may have in some ways taken what another MMORPG has done, in this case Everquest, and tweaked it to make it just a little bit better. Season of Discovery has been a hit. There are the usual complaints, of course, imbalances, hoarding of resources, and griefing, and even some complaints about boredom at max level. But there's something special about having a PvE raid at level 25 and a PvP zone, mass zone for open world PvP in a specific area, also at level 25. In many ways, it's kind of the antithesis of Holly's comments in 2015. By having a single raid, an instance raid at level 25 and one that only requires 10 players, this opens up the content up to players who don't have the same time to grind that would be required in a full-fledged game. It shrinks the time between starting the game and experiencing what would be considered endgame content. It's not that this hasn't been done before. Everquest 2, when it launched in 2004, had low-level raids too. It was a good idea, but failed as players steamrolled past it to get higher levels. There was really no incentive to sit at level 25 when the max level was 60, because the gear that you would get from the raid wouldn't matter in like 10, 20 levels. But in Season of Discovery, you just can't. You can just not play the raid, but then there's no real thing to do at level 25. There's the PvP and there's the PvE raid. And with not knowing quite how long the season's gonna be, it's worth doing. It remains to be seen exactly how this will play out. How long will the season last? Whether it's a few months or more, or how it changes and evolves as new levels unlock. But one thing is for sure, I have been having a hell of a good time playing with my friends, experiencing the game with people, some of whom have never actually played an MMO. I think having the smaller, the smaller play field, I don't really know exactly how to explain it. The smaller sprint has made it more accessible, easier for players to jump in because they're not thinking that they have months or years to actually enjoy content with other people. They're able to do it now. Of course, I still get frustrated with these hard barriers that exist in these games. Like in World of Warcraft, I can't group with someone if they're 5 levels higher or lower, or over 5 levels higher or lower than me. One of those continued frustrations of these hard barriers, but that's a subject for another day. Actually, I already covered it. But anyway, I'm having fun. That's the whole point. I'm having fun playing this with other people, and if you haven't given World of Warcraft Classic Season of Discovery a chance yet, you might want to give it a shot. In fact, you know what? Maybe, and this might be blasphemous, especially to my audience, but maybe, please don't unsubscribe. Please don't dislike this video. But maybe EverQuest, look a little bit at Season of Discovery, look at what World of Warcraft is doing, and maybe consider something like it. Maybe improve on it for the next progression server, which we'll probably be getting in May of 2024 anyway. My name is Redbird Flynn. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see a bit more about Season of Discovery and what it kind of like entails, I cover it in this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful day, no matter what game you are playing.